Here are my top 50 things to do in Bali, Indonesia. So I spent 2 months traveling around the beautiful island of Bali, Indonesia, the island of the gods, and here are 50 amazing things that I think you can do to have an amazing, unforgettable time in Bali. I categorize them in different sort of things so that way we can kind of go through them fastly, because I don't want this to be like an hour-long 50 things video. I just kind of want to give you good ideas of some amazing things to do, show you some visuals, and maybe you could start writing some down or incorporate them in your own upcoming trip. So let's start off with waterfalls. Tibumana is a gorgeous waterfall near Ubud, Bali, which has a nice pool and a beautiful sort of overhang. There is also Kanto Lampa waterfall near Ubud, which is more of like a cascading waterfall down some rocks, which is popular but really cool as well. Tukat Japong is another waterfall near Ubud. It has a beautiful sort of cave setting with natural light shining through. It's really popular on Instagram. Gambling waterfall is a little bit off the beaten path, kind of more towards East Bali, and here you have a natural infinity pool and a beautiful sort of like little ravine area and gorgeous views along the way. Air Terjun Jagasutra is a beautiful waterfall in East Bali, which is definitely off the beaten path. There was nobody here when I visited, and there's some nice stuff around the area for you to check out as well, which makes it a little bit more authentic than the others. Aling Aling is probably one of the most fun waterfalls to visit because it's beautiful. It means twin waterfalls, and like Balinese or Indonesian, and there's tons of like cliff jumping sort of activities that you can do here to make it a very fun adventure. And finally, number 7, our last waterfall is Sekampul Waterfalls. This is the tallest waterfall in Bali, and it is majestic and magnificent. It costs a little bit of money to visit because you have to pay like a guide to accommodate you, but it is so epic and an unmissable waterfall in Bali. Let's move on to our next category, which is beaches. So the first beach is Blue Point Beach. This is in Uluwatu, and it is beautiful. You can see lots of surfers here. There's beach clubs around you, which are really cool to visit. The water is really blue, and you go down these stairs to visit this really cool beach, one of my favorites on Bali. The next beach is my absolute favorite, which is Suluban Beach. It's located right next to Blue Point Beach in Uluwatu. You have to kind of climb through or navigate through this little cave to get to this almost like really secluded, tucked away hidden beach, which has beautiful cliffs around you. This is my favorite beach in all of Bali. Just want to let you know. Next is Green Bowl Beach. This is also in Uluwatu, and I did not visit it actually, but it looks really beautiful. It's secluded. There's monkeys along the way apparently. You have to climb down many stairs, and it's a little slice of paradise that you can have mostly to yourself, probably, if you visit it in Uluwatu. And our final beach, which is number 11 on our list, is Batu Balang Beach. This is a very popular beach right in Canggu. It's more of that volcanic, dark kind of sand. It's very popular. It's popular for surfing. There's some beach clubs, and the sunsets here are really nice, even if it's less beautiful, tropical paradise kind of beach. And before we move on, let me briefly just introduce myself so you know who's talking to you. My name is Wanderlust Wallman on YouTube, but my actual name is Noah, and I am a travel enthusiast. I try to do more budget-minded, adventurous travel where I'm seeking those authentic experiences where I can keep on traveling for more and more time without like breaking the bank, but also having those beautiful, amazing adventures that will change your life and keep on inspiring you to travel. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, checking out guides and vlogs to get an idea of your own trip, make sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. If not, no worries, at least finish this one for me if you can. Now let's move on from beaches and talk about some temples in Bali. One temple to visit is Uluwatu Temple. As the name implies, it is in Uluwatu, Bali, and you have beautiful views from this temple, and it's located on the cliffs, so it's great for sunset, great views, beautiful sort of cultural and natural part of Bali, Uluwatu Temple. Next temple is Tanah Lot. This is located about 30 minutes from Canggu, and it's another seaside temple. It's really beautiful. It kind of looks like it's on this little island when it's at high tide, and there's lots for you to walk around and see around here. Really amazing place as well. Next is Tirtaganga. It's kind of like a temple and palace complex, a little bit more, well, definitely more East Bali. Really cool. It has these famous like little pillars or columns in the water that you can like walk across and take some cool pictures, and there's lots of fun stuff to see and do around here as well. Next is Lempuyang Temple, which is a very famous photo spot. It's like the temple of heaven. I think it's a little bit overrated, especially if you're just going here for the picture, but there's some nice views of Mount Agung in the background, and there's a cool little area you can walk up. It's worth checking out if you're in the area, but it's definitely a little bit overrated in my opinion. Next is Pura Tirta Empul. This is a really famous temple near Ubud. You can do a bit of a bathing ceremony here, and it's a really cool, authentic experience for you to check out. Right smack dab in Ubud is the Sarasvati temple, which is kind of like a little lotus pond in a cool area, right near a Starbucks actually. But I liked it a lot. It's really easy to do when staying in Ubud, and it's not super popular with tourists the way other temples might be for like those iconic photos. So it's a really cool place you can just easily check out in Ubud. Next is the Ulan Danu Beratan temple. This is more like north central Bali, and it's on this really beautiful lake. There's lots of clouds, it's really atmospheric. It also has like a little pagoda kind of structure, which is on this floating little island as well. Iconic photo spot, really cool temple, and a completely different vibe than the other ones we visited so far. And finally, Ubud Palace. It's not exactly a temple, but it has the same kind of architectural kind of feel. It's located right in Ubud, right by the Sarasvati temple. Nice area for you to check out. It's free to enter, as well as the Sarasvati temple, so it's really easy to visit this really cool structure and check out some of the cultural sides of Bali, with their final temple-y area being the Ubud Palace. So if you're wanting to do some of these amazing things across the island of Bali, you're going to want to stay at least at one hotel, but preferably many hotels. And I really recommend you do some searching for your next hotel in Bali on a website called Planin. It's essentially like booking.com and Agoda. It actually like works in partners with these, but it's a third-party website, and it gives you access to deals up to 40% off on over 2 million hotels that they have listed. All you need to do is create a free account. And what Planin does, which is really cool, is it shows you creator profiles where they can list their own recommended hotels, or if you choose a hotel you want, you can see creators that recommend it or have some sort of like video or pictures of their own stay. So it's kind of like a way for you to get a reference or recommendation from a friend rather than just reading an anonymous review by somebody online. So that way, if you have a creator you trust, you can look at their profile, see their recommendations, or just get more options to you. It's a really great resource with great deals available to you. All you need to do is just click the link down below and create your free account today and get access to these amazing deals and reviews that I'm telling you about here. Now let's move on from temples and talk about some rice fields you can visit in Bali. First is the jogging track Subak Uma Desa. This is a hidden gem, truly a hidden gem in Canggu, because it's a walking area away from the crowds and traffic and masses, where it's really peaceful. You can just walk around this beautiful rice field or jog around it and get some great views and some of that really pretty Balinese sort of atmosphere with those rice paddies all to yourself. Usually. Next is the Kajang rice field right in Ubud, Bali. This is one of my favorite rice fields because it's really low key. There's some tourists, but it's not so bad. There's plenty of area for you to walk around. You can actually make a loop going into Ubud, and there's nice little warungs and areas for you to check out along the way as well. Next is the Tegalalang rice field, which is the most beautiful rice field, in my opinion, in all of Bali. It's just a little bit north of Ubud, and it has those cascading rice terraces, and it's incredibly vast with so many places for you to explore off the beaten path, away from tourists. You can easily get lost here. It can be busy if you go later in the day, but it's popular for good reason. It is like a totally different world here at the Tegalalang rice fields. And next is the rice fields in Sidemen. This is an area in East Bali, and there are plenty of rice fields here. It's definitely more of a low-key area than like Ubud and Canggu, so it's a good place to really take in like the peace and tranquility with the beautiful rice fields around you, which can go like as far as the eyes can see. Just walk around or grab a scooter and cruise around this area to really explore and experience the rice fields. Now let's move on and talk about some food and cafes and restaurants that you must experience here in Bali. Starting off with Crate Cafe. This is in Canggu, and it's one of my favorite places to go for some baked goods and some coffee. Has great vegan options if that's something you're interested in. It's really popular with like the Westerners and expat community, but has a great vibe and lots of delicious drinks and foods. Gotta check it out. Next is Sweet Orange Warung. This is in Ubud, and it's along that Kajang rice field I was talking about earlier. It has a super cool, relaxed vibe where it has like these little coconuts hanging, and the coffee here is unbelievable. The food is amazing, and the vibes and rice field views are top notch as well. Next is I Am Vegan Babe. This is one of my favorite cafes in Canggu. It's vegan, as the name implies, and has a great vibe and atmosphere and really good breakfast options. I really like the eggs Benedict, pancakes, and the orange juice and coffees are all great. Just a perfect place to start your day here in Canggu. Next is Sage. We're going back to Ubud, doing a little bit of flip-flopping, it seems like. And this is a restaurant just a little bit south of the main downtown area. It is like all vegan, and it has an amazing, like sort of like Ubud Balinese, very like kind of hippie, down-to-earth kind of vibe. The food here is unbelievable. Has like international food options and Balinese and Asian stuff as well. So I eat here many times, cannot recommend it enough. Next is Ithaca Warung, which you guessed it, it's in Canggu. We're gonna talk about other restaurants outside of just these two areas, but these are two main hubs. But Ithaca, it's located near the Batu Belong beach. It's like a bit of a rooftop restaurant where there's some nice views of like some temples and a little bit of the beach as well. And here they have really good authentic Balinese food, which you can try, which are beautifully plated and the flavors are amazing as well. Definitely gotta try the Balinese curry. You will not regret it. Next is Dapur Usada, back in Ubud, and this is like Ayurvedic kind of cuisine where it's more like healthy. It's kind of like Indian influenced, but also has like Balinese ingredients and recipes as well. Really beautiful setting, delicious food that's really healthy as well. I've been here many times and I wish I went back here more because the food here is killer. Next is Veggie House, which is actually very far in the north of Bali. And this is a really beautiful restaurant with some super kind owners that gave us like some free desserts, which was really nice of them. But they also sat and talked with us, and they have delicious like local Balinese and local to this region cuisine, which I wish I could say the names of. It's a little difficult, so I'll have it for you on screen. But the food here was amazing, great prices, great portions. One of my favorite places I've ever eaten while traveling. Next is Warung Tirta Unda. This is a restaurant off the beaten path in Sidemen, and they have a really nice, Warung means like local Balinese family restaurant, and they have really good cuisine and a really peaceful, beautiful area with views of the rice fields. The owner again is super nice and talked with us, and they have great Balinese staples like curries and like fried rice and noodles and things like that. Next is Cafe Vida. This is going to be in Canggu, and it has more of that like Ubud kind of vibe, but in Canggu where it's, you know, things are normally a little bit more like modern, I guess, typically, or more chic, but this is more of like that like holistic, earthy kind of vibe. Really delicious, healthy foods here as well. Great place if you want something just chill and good for your body. Well, chill vibe and good for your body. Next is Pizza Cult. This is a pizza restaurant in Ubud, and we're mostly trying to incorporate Balinese foods, but this is a good place if you want some amazing vegan pizza, or just pizza in general, but the pizza's vegan and it's amazing. And they also make fresh root beer, has like the Neapolitan kind of style and some other things as well. Delicious. If you're ever craving pizza, this is your pizza stop here in Bali. And finally, TIS or TIS Cafe. This is located right on the outskirts or at the edge of Tagalalong rice fields, where you get a view of the rice fields. It's this beautiful, like boho chic, kind of like overhanging restaurant with good coffee and food and just unbelievable vibes and views. You're gonna hear me saying that a lot in this video, but it's a good recommendation, I promise you. So let's move on now to some classes and activities that you should do while being in Bali. First, you need to get a Balinese massage. You can do this like anywhere on the island, but I had one mostly in Canggu, and I would recommend going to Tranquility Spa. It has good prices. It's like a fair price for this area, so it's still pretty cheap, but like the highest end and a really good quality massage. Tranquility. Get a massage. Next is yoga. People from all over the world go to Bali to do yoga, and you should be one of those as well. Even if you're not super into yoga, my recommendation is going to be Samadhi, but there are plenty more across every area of Bali, specifically like Ubud and Canggu. Also, you should really try surfing in Bali. Canggu is a big surfing hotspot, although I think there are probably better areas to do it like Uluwatu or some of the nearby islands. But Surf with Aldo is my recommendation for Canggu. Good reviews, fair prices, and a good experience for us able to stand up my first time, and hopefully you can as well. And finally, you want to go dolphin sightseeing in Lovina in the north of Bali. I don't recommend booking just any company because some of them kind of like hassle and like harass the dolphins, like chasing after them all day and tiring them out, which sounds really not the best like ecological thing to do. I recommend booking with Popeye. Check the company out on Google and you'll have an amazing time. It's like swimming and riding right next to pods of dolphins. So cool. Now let's move on to some great viewpoints and viewing spots in Bali. First is Bukit Cinta or Bukit Cinta. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. This is in the east of Bali and it's a really great place to view Mount Agung. I didn't have the best view when I went, but I've seen pictures, which I'm showing you here, which the views are absolutely to die for. It's a beautiful volcano and a great viewing spot in East Bali. The next one is Wisata Monyet. This is more the North Bali area, north of that like Lake Baritan area. And here there's actually monkeys right by the viewpoint, which is really cool. You can see them up close and they're less aggressive than some other monkeys in Bali. And you can actually get a nice view of the lakes below you in a totally different atmosphere than other areas of Bali. And finally, Lahangan Suite. This is really far on East Bali and it is a really cool place where you get many viewpoints of the entire island of Bali, or most of the island of Bali, including Mount Agung. You can see the coast, you can see some valleys, and there's like a cool little treehouse kind of area for you to take in and get some pictures of as well. And now let's move on to for lack of a better term, the miscellaneous section, things I couldn't really put in any of these categories, but they are amazing things that you should do. First is the Banjar Hot Springs. This is located in the far north of Bali, and it is so amazing. My only hot springs that I visited in Bali, and they were so great. The temperature isn't like killer hot, which you wouldn't really want in this part of Bali anyway, and it has that cool Balinese cultural feel as well. Relaxing, fun, amazing. Check it out. Next is the Blue Lagoon. This is actually located near Aling, and usually by paying to do Aling, this is included in the price, but this is like a beautiful oasis, as the name implies, like a blue pond for you with a little waterfall for you to swim in and explore with a rope swing in this cave. Love it. Slice of paradise in heaven on Bali. Next is the Kecak fire dance. You can do this in Uluwatu or Ubud, and it is like the famous fire dance. It's really cool Balinese tradition. Even if you don't quite understand what's going on, it's a really unique thing for you to check out and add to a cultural aspect of your visit in Bali. Next is our Agrawista Sabian Salak, which is located really more in the East Bali area. And this is like one of my ultimate hidden gems on the entire island because we were the only people there. And this is a snake fruit farm, which snake fruit is this really cool fruit that comes from Bali. It tastes like a bit like a mixture of a pineapple and an apple, they say. And yeah, this lady like walks you around her own like farm, and you can try some tea or coffee that they can make with this fruit. Really cool, interesting experience that I did not expect to do in Bali that you should check out. Next is the Black Sand Brewery. This is in Canggu, and it's definitely more popular with like the tourists, but it's locally brewed Balinese beer, and the vibe is really like top notch. The beer is really tasty. It's a good place to maybe mingle and meet some friends or have a couple drinks, which maybe you want to do on vacation rather than just adventure and see beautiful places. Next is the Sacred Monkey Forest Sanctuary in Ubud. It's famous. There's monkeys everywhere. I did not actually visit because I saw plenty of monkeys in other places, and I heard the monkeys here could be a little bit aggressive because the tourists are always feeding them and that kind of thing. So be warned, be careful, but it looks like a really beautiful way to experience like the Ubud forest jungly vibes and see some wildlife. The Balinese monkeys. Next is the Champuhan Ridge Walk, which is a great walking area in Ubud. You're on this ridge where there's no scooters allowed, so you're away from like the hustle and bustle and scooters that are ubiquitous in Bali, and there'll be a lot of people walking around, but at least it's only pedestrians. It's a good place for some views of the jungle and a nice area to stretch your legs without trying to like hug the sidewalk, which I really enjoyed in Bali. Also, there is Love Anchor Market, which is in Canggu. It's definitely a little bit more like that boho chic kind of vibe. Maybe not completely local. There's lots of people selling different like trinkets or like textiles and stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out, and it's worth just something new to do in Canggu besides just like eating and drinking and that kind of thing.
And number 50 is actually at Samadhi, where we did yoga.
But they also have a market on Sundays, which we were lucky enough to check out here, and they even have some wonderful live music on display as well. And finally, most important is subscribe to the Wanderlust Wallman channel, because then you will find even more things to do in Bali and see more about each of these places, because I can only show you so much in this video. So what do you think? Do any of these things seem appealing to you? Am I missing out on any glaringly obvious omissions? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you traveling to Bali? I'd love to hear that from you. And thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.